So this is your chance to practice trading in currencies and go back in time and see if you can make an imaginary killing on the currency markets. So this screencast is just to give you a quick example of how this activity can work. So as you can see from the worksheet, there are three key questions you need to answer before you start. How much money will you all start with? I'm going to start with 10,000 of my local currency, which is euros. How far back in time will you go? Well, I'm going to go back to the year 2000. And number three, how many times will you be able to change your investments between then and now? Well, for this example, I'm going to change them in 2005 and 2010. So, having made those decisions, I go back to my spreadsheet and I'm going to decide how to spend my 10,000 euros that I started with. I'm going to buy 3,000 US dollars, 3,000 euros worth of US dollars, 4,000 euros worth of Great British pounds, and 3,000 euros worth of Swedish krona. Now, to make this work, I need to go back in time to the same date in the year 2000. So I'm going back to the 23rd of July 2000. So for that, I need to be logged on to the Oanda currency converter. And there's a middle tab here called Historical Exchange Rates. And this allows me to choose the currency I want to start with, which is euros, and currencies I want. Well, I want US dollars, pound, which is already there, and now I'm going to add Swedish krona. And I just go down the list to the S's and pick out the one that says Swedish krona. Okay, I've put in my dates already, so in there I've put in the 23rd of July 2000, and as I said, I'm going to stop 5 years later to see what it's like, so I put July the 23rd, 2005. Now from this graph I can see all of my exchange rates. There they are, changing across the top of the page as I go. So I'm going back to 2000, where I can see that a euro would have bought me 0.9326 US dollars. So I'm going to go back to my worksheet, my spreadsheet, sorry, and I'm going to put the exchange rate in there as 0.9326. Okay, how many US dollars would that have bought me? Well, that's a simple multiplication sum. I'll get the spreadsheet to do it for me. Equals 3,000 multiplied by the exchange rate there, and there you can see I've got 2,797 US dollars. Now I'll go back to the Oanda site and I'll see what the exchange rate was 5 years later. Well, 5 years later I can see the exchange rate has changed to 1.2076. So I go back to my spreadsheet and I put in there 1.2706. That's the new exchange rate. Now, because I'm changing back from dollars and into euros, I've got to divide by this rate. So I'm going to put in there equals the amount of this new currency divided by the exchange rate as it was 5 years later. And you can see that the 3,000 euros I invested in US dollars was only worth 2,200 euros 5 years later. So you might argue that that was a bad investment. I hope I'm going to have a little bit more luck with my pounds and my krona. But now you can see what the idea was, and that's what you should be doing with your spreadsheets. Repeat it again to go from 2005 to 2010, and then from 2010 to the present day, wherever you are. Good luck.